Hi, and once again, welcome to Living in the 21st Century. Today is a very strange topic. It's all about speed dating, and joining me today is Lakeisha M. Gandhi, CEO of JYSDE. Lakeisha, it's a pleasure to have you here
Thank you
on
for
the show
having
today.
me. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Nice. I am somewhat really flattered on what speed dating is all about. Humor me a little bit on it.
Okay. So speed dating is a concept that started over a decade ago with a Jewish rabbi who wanted to help Jewish singles meet and marry.
Okay.
The concept is you talk to single individuals with a like-minded interest for 5 to 7 minutes, and that's enough time to determine if there is a spark between you and a mutual interest, a strong mutual interest enough to go on a second date.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, nice. I like where the concept comes from. So, first I want to really start though. What really inspired you to start just speed dating? What really inspired you and got you into this whole concept of speed dating?
Yeah, so I became single after being in a relationship for over 10 years, and I decided I'm going to get out there and I'm going to mix and mingle with other singles. And I went to some traditional speed dating events as well as just regular dates. And I went to different single social events around the city. And I didn't find a lot of quality singles with anything I had, and I had something in common with.
Okay.
And so I was thinking and just talking to different friends and who were running into the same circumstances, and we said, let's do something about it. And so I started doing single social mixers and different things to bring singles together with a common interest.
Okay. So therefore, speed dating can best be summed up as random dating of people that you try to get to know to see whether or not they may be a person that you are interested in.
It can be very well summed up as a set of random dates, and you talk to different people and try to determine if there's an interest.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to battle in my head one thing.
Okay.
Because you set up random dates, and we have a lot of handsome guys out there.
We do.
And under those handsome guys, there could be some probably serial killers. You don't know because you select these guys at random.
Yes.
In most cases, a girl will probably meet a guy probably occasionally whether it's in the workplace or whether it's at a club over a period of time, and they develop some form of communication, and then they get to know each other and they take things from there. But this random speed dating seems like an opportunity where a woman could probably get herself hurt in some cases, not given it skillful consideration. It's like fatal attraction. I don't think.
Well, so actually statistics show that about 67% of people meet by happenstance.
Yes.
So they don't meet in the workplace, and they
Okay.
don't there's about a third of people that meet through work or something they have, or church or something like that.
Right.
And so speed dating, it is a random selection of individuals. We try to target single professionals, but there are bad people in every bunch, right? So there's no way to determine if someone's going to be a stalker, but it's a very public event, and so we kind of weed out the creepiness that comes from talking to people behind a screen online and people that don't want to be exposed. We have our events at very fabulous venues around the city. There's cameras, there's other individuals, and there's no exchanging of information until you're 100% comfortable. And so you come, like, as I'm sitting here talking to you, I talk to you, and if I don't get a good vibe, we go our separate ways and possibly never see each other again. Similar to a date you might go on for 2 or 3 hours, and you spend $100 or $150, and you never see the person again. In this case, you can meet 12 to 20 people in one setting, spend a couple of hours, and only spend $30 to meet people.
Okay. You know, I can ask a whole series of questions pertaining to this, but I perceive from culture to culture that may very well have different expectations and different outcomes of dating, may not necessarily want to fully embrace the whole concept of speed dating, right? Because there are some old folks who believe that it can be more harm than good. Now, I understand your strategic plan. You have events, and people attend those events, and they get to know each other and so forth. And probably you have a pre-selection by speaking to those people before to figure out whether or not you should have these people come in to do your events. I don't know.
Yeah, so you spoke on a couple of things. So one I would say is, so our events are themed. So we try to stick to different themes. We have our African American Love Noir. We have Jewish speed dating. We have our Christian date night, as well as our AI Asian American dates night. And so, and just single professionals that want to come out and date. So we try to stick to different themes where so that we can have people come together that have somewhat of a common interest.
Okay, well, I like how you differentiate those different segments. Suppose an African American want to date an Asian, or vice versa. How?
Yeah, so that they will probably be a good fit at our single professionals date night. However, our clients are very diverse in age. They range from age 25 to 55, and we don't limit it to African Americans coming to date African Americans. If you're interested in dating someone of African descent, you're welcome to come to the event. So it's for African Americans and all that love them, as well as Asians and anyone who wants to love Asian. So it's not limited. However, some people do have a preference, and they'll come, they'll meet, and they will only choose to engage with people that they're most interested in.
Yeah. So the whole concept then for this whole dating event situation is to put people in permanent relationships, more than just meet you today for a week or a month, but really find the partner of their life.
Most people that come to our events are looking for a serious long-term relationship.
Nice. So what kinds, well, I think we probably just answered that, but what kinds of events you do hold?
So we hold, all of our events are really catered to single people. We do singles parties, we do social mixers, and they're all driven by the speed dating concept. So you come, you talk, you mix, you mingle. We have different adult icebreakers. We usually have live entertainment by one of the local DJs from wherever we're hosting the event. We are now going to get into bringing different talents to host. We are looking into some of the local editorial writers that write about relationships, bringing them in. I actually spoke to you a little bit about our upcoming event in June, which is He Says, She Says. We want to have a panel that has a different outlook on dating, from a gay woman or man to a married woman and man, a divorced woman and man, and a single woman and man. And we want to give people the opportunity to come out and hear what people like yourself and other relationship experts have to say about dating, and ask questions that they want to ask. And we hope that we can develop a focus group out of that event.
That sounds pretty good. So where are your most successful events? Oh, sorry, what are your most successful events? And
Yes. So I think each of our events has their own successes, right? I think to our clients, our most successful events are those that have an nearly equal number of men to women, as well as people in the age range that they want to date in. And so I think that we have people that come in from New Hampshire, drive in from Western Mass, north side, east side of the city. We just have people coming to meet single
Right.
people. And so I think if you make a romantic connection, that's the most successful event. However, we have people that share business resources as well as make new friendships and just make quality business connections. If I had to pick a most successful event, I would say the African American Love Nor Rave event, as well as the Christian speed dating events, were our most successful events this past year.
Oh, okay, nice. I'm going to get back to the Christian dating events in a moment. But you, to me, so you don't have a specific location where you host your events. You select different venues, different places.
We do. We
Right.
select different venues and different
And
places.
how do you target your venues? How do you go about selecting the best venue for your events?
So that is a very interesting question, and it's definitely a learning process. I really tend to go to the venues where that makes the most sense financially,
Right. Okay.
and that have things going on the nights that they will let us in. Because we can add to an event or we can have an event.
Right.
Right. And so if there's something already going on at that venue, it makes it more likely that we'll have good participation. But you know, when some venues ask us to come in on like Mondays and Tuesdays when they're not as busy, and it doesn't add to the
Right.
the evening. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Well, back to this question. This may be a little bit weird and maybe a little bit out of your knowledge to answer, so I will understand. Now, you mentioned about Christian nights and so forth. Now, I'm a Christian, but I must tell you the honest truth.
okay.
Some of the most broken marriages and worst relationships and topsy-turvy kind of relationships are Christian relationships. There are more
That's
broken
interesting.
marriages
That's
and
not the
Christian
first time.
relationships.
That is not the first time I've heard that.
Right. And you know, I'm wondering, even if you have a venue where Christians meet and get to know each other, what really is the sincerity that a good relationship can be birthed out of it? Now, as I said, I'm a Christian, but I believe that in most Christian relationships, there are more lies and faults. I don't know what to call it, right? They're all messed up. There are more broken divorces and marriages you can possibly think about when it comes to Christian relationships. Now, I must say that you probably is a relationship expert. Could you give
Wow.
could you tell me a little bit about that?
So I will say that there are tools that you need in order to go in and meet someone and really get to know them to determine if there is a long-term relationship there to build. I think that in the initial stages, not being judgmental and really asking questions when you're talking to the person that get them to open up and talk to you about their life's experiences and where they want their future experience to end up, where they want to go with their lives going forward. I think that when you speak about Christian relationships failing and divorce, I think that is not only within Christians, I think that's across the board. Finance has a lot to do with relationships coming to a halt, people not being on a level playing field and a consistent having financial soundness when they go into the relationship. Honesty. I mean, you would think that Christians would go into things with full honesty and full integrity, but unfortunately,
they don't.
You said it, not Jason.
That's the thing I want to talk about, because, like you said, there are tools that the average person that's not a Christian is genuinely going in a relationship with. But for the Christian man, I'm telling you, man, you got some hunters in churches, especially men. They go and tell nice young looking ladies who may never experience a man before in their lives and say, you know what? God spoke to me last night and he said, you are the perfect woman for me. And I can hear him speaking in my ears all like, no, you know, and I think we should get together. And a simple Christian-minded woman who trying to serve God in all her righteousness fall for this kind of deception. I mean, the guy is a hunter, right? His intention is to go to bed with every woman in the church if possible. He didn't want to do it on the street because he wanted to look at himself. I don't want to get out there and get STD. But I prefer meet those nice virgin ladies inside the church. And I want to talk it really explanatory. And I'm going to try to get as many of them as possible. And at any cost, they use God. Oh, they don't know God. But they're going to tell you, listen, man, God sent me and he spoke in my spirit. No, I wish the woman would have a mind on her own to say, well, you know what? Well, if God speaking in your spirit that used the man for me, why didn't he spoke to me and tell me that you're the man for me? Right? I hope women can do that. But
yeah, I am a Christian as well, and I do think that as Christian women, we have to have some type of spiritual discernment. But when you're an early Christian, you're developing and you're learning, and you may not have those
babes in Christ.
Right. When you're a babe, you have to get to drinking milk, right?
Right.
So I think that for those gentlemen that prey on women and their vulnerabilities, whether they are Christian or not, shame on them. You know, they're accountable to God for that. And I think that it is hard to determine who is seriously seeking a relationship and who is not. But I do feel like having a Christian meet another Christian is getting us closer to being equally yoked, and I think that it is a great concept. But I can't really speak to the men that prey on women. Yeah, which is pretty sad to be happening in the church.
In the church.
In the church.
I'm glad we able to stop it, because the reality is that Christ had warned us, and he said that many will come in his name, do all manner of things in his name, and on the day of judgment he will say to them, depart from me and know ye not, ye workers of iniquity. Now we have a lot of wolves in sheep clothing, and they're smooth, they're full of deception. But I wish that the young parents or the parents of some of these young simple-minded girls, because they were brought up in nice Christian homes and they were taught good things from their parents. But it's like Adam and Eve, when the serpent whispered in Eve's ears, she went and she sinned.
Yeah, she sinned.
So when these girls, for the first time, get the words of a serpent, because that's who they are, of a serpent whispering good things in their ears, they fall for it. And then their lives go into ruin. They end up going and marrying the guy. And before you know it, the guy had enough of it. He seen that young skirt, and he wanted to go after that skirt. And probably the girl got 2 or 3 kids already. She divorced out her young life. Her life is wrecked. Nothing come out of that. So that part is problematic when it comes to the Christians. And it's sad that I had to speak about Christians in
Yeah, I
that
mean,
form. But
I think it's problematic across the board. I
yeah,
think and knowing when you hear from God,
hmm
and even if someone else tells you
hmm
they heard from God,
hmm
we have to hear from God for
yes,
ourselves.
of course.
I think again, spiritual discernment
hmm
is necessary and needed.
hmm
You have to have that. I
hmm
think that also just knowing the word for yourself,
hmm
because if you know the word for yourself, you're able to know how to go to God and hear from God and get what you need from God and know if someone is a serpent,
You,
as you
you
said.
just struck the nail on the head.
Yeah. So
You just struck the nail on the head. Well, I'm going to ask you a few more of these questions. The time is
okay.
going so pretty hard, though. But
yes.
is there anyone you want to thank for your success so far?
Oh my gosh, for my success
Yeah.
so far.
hmm
Oh, first, of course, I want to thank the Lord Jesus Christ.
hmm
Without him, I wouldn't be who I am today.
Amen.
In honor of International Women's
Okay.
Day, I want to
Nice.
thank my mom,
hmm
who does not support this business.
Oh.
She does not think it's a great idea.
Okay.
And speaking of hearing from God, she's
Uh,
like, I don't think God told you to do that.
no, no, it's good. It's good because
But
it's.
my mom, I love my mom.
hmm
And my sister,
hmm
I want to give a shout out to my sister Denise, who's in Alabama, and she just loves this business. She said she can't wait to come visit so she can go on a
Nice.
date.
Okay. hmm
My managing partners,
hmm
David Jones and Serlin Kintov, as
hmm
well as significant contributors, Yvonne Williams
hmm
and Marie
hmm
Celestine. But most importantly, I want to thank the
hmm
singles tribe out there and
hmm
all the people that have come through an event,
hmm
even if they weren't able to make a romantic connection,
Okay.
just to support us.
hmm
We have sold over 300 tickets, which doesn't seem like a lot, but
hmm
for a small business, you know, for me doing this by myself,
Right.
I feel good about it.
Well, definitely. hmm
And then the venues. I
hmm
mean, I have ran into some great um, managers, the COO at Daryl's, Sean Hunter.
hmm
Um, I mean, I'm sorry, he's at Slade's now. He was
Okay.
at Daryl's Corner, but now he's at Slade's Bar and Grill. I do the African American date nights
hmm
there. He's been wonderful, as
hmm
well as Priscilla at Fire and Ice in Boston.
hmm
And so I've just ran into some great people,
hmm
entertainers. Um, I want to thank DJ Junior Rodigan as well as DJ G7.
hmm
They have been tremendous supporters of J-Side
hmm
and always there for us when we need them.
Nice, nice,
So,
nice.
yeah.
So, where do you see your business going in the future? I know you are at a micro level. Is there a way where you're going to develop your business to a franchise? Are you going to train people in your organization that they can actually start a franchise somewhere else? Do you thinking about just moving it beyond the shores of United States of America?
Mm-hmm.
It seems to be a good concept, and I think it can
Mm-hmm.
work in practically almost any country.
Mm-hmm.
Would you market the brand of your name
Mm-hmm.
to a franchise level?
So we have talked about going
hmm
nationally and internationally.
Okay.
Our business model expands definitely
hmm
throughout the United States as well as
hmm
internationally. We have not decided yet if we would do a franchise model or
hmm
how we would get there. There
hmm
are some other business lines that we want to develop
hmm
before we start to expand and
Okay.
scale. But definitely, the concept is it's just a great concept, and when
Okay.
you put it all together,
hmm
I definitely think it has a lot of
Okay.
potential.
Okay. Is any of
Hmm.
those business lines pertaining to the same dating or some other segment of business?
They're all centered around dating. It's
hmm
just dating smarter
hmm
and dating and
You
finding
can probably call it smart dating.
smart quality of which you
Okay.
mentioned,
hmm
the quality of men and
hmm
women that you meet.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Okay, great. Well,
Hmm.
I know we're winding down to the
Hmm.
last 4 minutes of our time,
Okay.
but what advice would you give to young people who presently dating, and what are some of the things they should look for if they want to have a successful date or a successful partner as they move forward?
So, I would say if you're trying to look for um, a successful partner, I would say don't look too far because your partner will find you. However, he's not going to find you, he or she, if you're not making yourself available to be found. So if you're just going to work, to the grocery store, to the cleaners, and back home, it's very unlikely that someone's going to find you there doing that same routine every day, every week. You have to come out, be social, stop swiping because online dating is very, very difficult and can be very, very expensive.
And very, very dangerous.
And very, very dangerous too. Yes. And so I do believe what the Bible says, that we don't have to look for a man. A man will find us. But I also feel like if you're just in your routine, I strongly feel you're not going to find anyone. Well, yeah, you may meet someone at the grocery store.
Well, there's a possibility. But,
once every decade.
I always, correct.
Right?
I always tell folks this, is that the old methodology that worked well back in the old biblical times will not work today in the 21st century. We live in a whole new world, and the way how we conceptualize and do things are far, far different than how it was then before. It wasn't hard for a man to meet his wife back in old biblical times. And the women back in those times had no say. So if a man see a girl and he liked that girl and he humbled that girl, that would have been known to be his wife in the future. And that's the person he would take to be his wife in the future. You can't do that thing here and now. You do that to a woman, you go to prison.
That's old school.
That's an old school thing, right? So I think what you have is great. I think you can capitalize on it. You can have further extensions on the business. Even though the old philosophical people may not think it's a good thing, like your mom.
My mom.
Not think it's not a good thing. I think as long as the environment is safe, it's good for people to date and get to know each other. Not just in a romantic way, but really get to know each other in character, in person. And then you can move on from that level and take things to a whole new level. But don't fall for the first fatal attraction. That could be very detrimental.
And don't settle when you know that it's not
a
good fit for you.
Exactly. And on that note, Lakeisha, it was a pleasure having you here.
Thank you.
You're winding right down now to the last minute in the program. And if there's anything you want to say finally before we close, please feel free to do so.
Yeah, I'll just say to all the single people out there, as I said, don't settle. Find the love of your life because it is out there. Come to one of our events, mix and mingle with us. We are on Facebook at JYSDE, on Twitter and Instagram at JYSDNE, and our website is jysde.com.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And on that note, I want to say thank you once more for tuning in on Living in the 21st Century. Bye-bye.
Are we done?